America's campaign in Iraq has dwindling support at home, and now new allegations could fuel resentment even further. An investigative journalist claims to have uncovered evidence U.S. defense contractors offer bribes for deals. Let's now find out more from RT's Alyona Minkowski, who's in Washington, D.C. for us. So, Alyona, could that be possible?
Yeah, so we first have to think that currently there are more private contractors both in Iraq and Afghanistan than there are actual U.S. military personnel, which is quite baffling to many because a lot of these firms are no strangers to controversy, most notably the firm formerly known as Blackwater, which eventually got the boot from the Iraqi government due to shootouts in which civilians were injured and other behavior that they deemed reckless by their employees. But there have been a lot of other firms for the U.S. government to choose from, which they have been doing. And apparently there could be some scandal in that. So we have to ask, how accountable are these firms and why they're being chosen in the first place? Now, here to discuss that with me is RT's contributor, Wayne Madsen. Thank you for joining me. Now, you recently, and you have been doing for a long time, been writing articles, but your most recent one is describing a lot of fraud and abuse, fraud and bribery that was found in choosing some of these contracts. Can you give us some of the details?
Well, it's truly the situation in both Iraq and Afghanistan is like the Wild West days. We have a number of private security firms, construction companies, notably the firms that were involved in constructing this huge U.S. embassy in Baghdad, which I understand is larger than St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican. There's been all kinds of information coming out about the bribery. We've actually got people who've wound up dead in Baghdad, contractors, two in particular in May. We had a few years ago Colonel Ted Westhusing, the Army's top ethics officer. They said he committed suicide while he happened to be investigating a private security contractor in Iraq. So there's an awful lot of smoking guns, literally smoking guns, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and there's over 125 U.S. and foreign private security companies in operation in both countries.
And so how far can we really expect this to go within the company? Does it go from the top executives down to the men on the ground?
Well, it's quite apparent that after we invaded Iraq, that some of these companies, for example, one called Custer Battles, very close relations with the Republican Party, the two people who started the company, and they received millions and millions of dollars in contracts, both tied in with the Republicans, but not just the Republicans. We also have members of Congress, one in particular, a Democratic congressman from the state of Texas, who's been linked to another firm that has been reaping a lot of profits from Iraq. So there's enough graft and corruption to go around, in this case, both political parties.
Yeah, so you're saying that it's actual Congress makers and lawmakers that are involved in some of this controversy. How should American taxpayers be feeling about that when those Congress people are the ones choosing how to spend taxpayer money?
Well, Senator Jim Webb, Democratic senator from Virginia, put through a bill which created a wartime commission on wartime contracting. That commission the members have been named, but we'll see how far they go. And during World War II, Senator Harry Truman, who later became vice president, chaired a similar panel. He really got got to the basis of a lot of this corruption during the Second World War. I'm not sure that this commission, unless we see some sort of real effort on the part of the commission to look at essentially how Congress allowed some of this to happen, I'm not sure that's going to go too far, and we're going to get much in the way of any exposés as a result of the Webb Commission.
And this bribery and fraud that you've been exposing, was this around before even Iraq and Afghanistan, or is this the first time that we really can say this is happening?
Some of these firms that we see active in both Iraq and Afghanistan were also active in Kosovo, in Bosnia during the Balkans Wars. Even before that, we saw them involved in counter-narcotics operations in Latin America. Again, we had the same stories about corruption, bribery, drug smuggling, even prostitution rings involved in with the activities of some of these companies. So some of these firms have a long track record. Some of these private contractors go back to the days of the Vietnam Vietnam War, the Indochina conflict, and were associated with a company called Air America, which was, among other things, not only just supplying our people, our allies in Laos, but we know that they were running drugs out of the Golden Triangle.
Well, definitely a lot of controversy, and as both the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan continue, we hope that we'll be able to uncover more information about this. Back to you, Moscow.
All right, Eliana, thank you very much indeed for that interview. We appreciate it.